everyone. I'm Jenny Kember-Lee. I've got a background of 14 years spent in the Army. I'm currently on Troops for Teachers as a secondary school computer science teacher or trainee teacher, and I joined in September 14. I'm working in a large secondary school in the northeast of England, and I must say currently I'm absolutely loving the experience so far. There's great support from the Troops for Teachers team and the school that I work with, both for the academic work, such as assignments, as well as the teaching and learning process. I wrote down something before. The best thing about Troops for Teachers is you get on-the-job experience. And I think most of us coming from a military background understand that that's so important. You also get paid to do it, which is fantastic. And I know there's already been discussions about how to cope with the pay. But actually, to be paid to do it in the first place is quite amazing. Like Colin has talked about, the work is hard, there's no doubt about that, but there is support offered. I'm not necessarily academically amazing, but the support offered by the university and mentors means that this is completely accessible to everybody. So I'm an absolute believer. It's fantastic. It's by far the best thing I've ever done.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I'm going to run through those questions that I asked Colin a moment ago. Can you tell us a bit about how much teaching you actually do within the week, and has that changed since you started, and will it change in the future?
Yes, it has. I'm currently working at 50% of 4 days a week that I'm in school, and this is manageable and really good fun. There is a lot of time taken for preparing lessons, and obviously that's outside of the school day. Or you can use your downtime during the school day to do this. I started off by teaching 20%, so it has increased. And like Colin, I will look to be going up to 75% later on in the course. So it is gradual, so you're able to cope with it.
Okay, that's great. And what about the coursework? How are you fitting the university work in, and have you found that a challenge?
I spent several years studying Open University while in the Army, so I have got experience of having to study, home study, and it's pretty much the same with the Troops for Teachers scheme. I do some assignments during the school day if I get the opportunity, if I'm not preparing lessons or teaching. But again, like Colin, I spend several hours of an evening doing work if I need to, be it assignments, if assignments are due, or if I'm preparing lessons. I have a family with a child who's 3, so I have the joys of having to make dinner and look after her as well as get on with assignments, but it's totally manageable, and actually I found this route a lot more enjoyable than doing the Open University route for a degree, because there is a lot more support offered through the Troops for Teachers scheme.
Absolutely. Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you. So you've already mentioned about the financial aspects of it. You think it's a great thing that you do get paid. Anything else you can tell us about how you make ends meet?
Well, I left obviously after 14 years, so I wasn't pensionable. I'm lucky enough I had prepared and put some savings aside, and I had a resettlement grant from the Army, which has helped. But when I left, I initially thought that living on that wage would be a huge struggle, so I joined the reservists to get work with them and to earn extra money. But in fact, I haven't had to do that, and I would prefer to concentrate on my Troops for Teacher experience and make sure I get the best grades possible. But my whole point on that is I've coped perfectly fine living off of that income. I haven't had to use savings. So I think it's about adjusting to your means, really. And I think all of us, being ex-forces, can do that anyway.
Absolutely. Well, listening to Colin, can you see a lot of similarities between the secondary situation you're in and Colin's situation, or are there a lot of differences, and how did you choose? Why did you choose secondary and not primary?
I always wanted to get into teaching. It's been a thought in my mind for several years before leaving the forces. So I enrolled in Open University and started learning about computing. It was just so happened that I fell into the subject through the army as well. So that's the whole point that I decided to go into secondary. And also, as much as I love my daughter who's 3 years old, I prefer the enjoyment and the fun you can have with teenagers. So secondary was certainly more suited for me. I've had a fantastic experience. For some reason, I attract all the naughty kids who seem to love the fact that, you know, I was in the army, forever asking me for information about the army. I also take some people who are interested in joining the forces for circuits at lunchtime, and we have lots of fun around that. So I've found that having a military background is playing massive dividend in school. And also from a leadership perspective, my mentor and I often work together and formulate plans for the team. My mentor is my head of team, head of computer science within the school, and she looks at me for leadership experience, and we get on really well as a team. It's quite a mature environment. So, you know, advice is sought from all sorts of places. She can help me with my academic work, and I certainly can help out with the leadership part of it. So we bring so much more to the school environment than we even realise in first instance.
I think that's a really important point, isn't it? That those transferable skills that we always talk about that you can bring to a school. And that's why I think Tim would agree with this, that head teachers are getting more and more excited about having troops of teachers, trainees in the classroom, Tim.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a real snowball of interest, and it's not just the schools who are currently engaged, but the schools that they have within their strategic alliances who are now looking at troops of teachers and getting in touch with us to see if they can have a trainee of their own.
Fantastic. Well, that was really, really useful, Jenny. Thank you so much. And again, the final question to you as well, as I put to Colin, is this something that you would recommend?
Absolutely, wholeheartedly. I'd recommend it to anybody that's ever had that thought of getting into teaching. I would suggest this is probably one of the best routes to get in, certainly for future employment after the programme as well.